You delivered an after-dinner speech, which then resulted in one comment or two comments being taken. So it was just literally the fact that there was a journalist sat in the room who took your comments and made them public knowledge.
But there was also a fact that the journalist in the Mirror had it in for me anyway, because apparently I'd fired his niece. There was no social media, but word got around pretty quickly, and the brand became toxic. And I remember I was almost in tears at that time. I didn't deal with it very well. I basically gave up. I believed everything that was said about me in the press. And the strange thing was, when I finally got out of bed and I started meeting people, like when I did my speeches or when I opened up my health club, everyone wasn't anything like what I expected.
1991, you had this after-dinner speech. You'd prepared for it. Your plan was to deliver it. You know, you'd become a great public speaker by this point. You delivered an after-dinner speech, which then resulted in one comment or two comments being taken by, and I have a huge issue. I'm from Liverpool, so we have a huge issue with the Sun newspaper anyway.
Yeah.
So it was just literally the fact that there was a journalist sat in the room who took your comments and made them public knowledge. And
yeah, well, Kelvin Mackenzie, the editor of The Sun, said that, Gerald, you've done a Hillsborough, you know. That's what he says, you know. But I've been compared to a lot of terrible things, which all I did was I called a sherry decanter crap as a joke. But yeah, it was... Institute of Directors have an annual event at the Albert Hall every year. They invited me to speak. I was very honoured, because it's quite a big event in front of thousands of people. There was the President de Klerk of South Africa and the Chancellor of the Exchequer. You know, it was on a higher level than I was used to, and it was a reflection of where Ratner's had become, and I was very proud of that. So I did a very serious speech. One of my colleagues suggested that I put in a couple of jokes. I don't think he could have imagined that it had the effect it had, that we'd be here talking about it 33 years later. But I put in those two jokes, the prawn sandwich one, which I probably would have got away with. But it was the sherry decanter joke, because it had the word crap in it. And, of course, the Daily Mirror. It was the Daily Mirror that actually did the story. The Sun only changed their headline, their front page, because they saw overnight the Mirror running this story. And of course the Mirror, being disingenuous and wanted to make this story as bad as it was, said that I said it all about my jewellery. And to this day, it's on Twitter today, and so it's in the newspapers every day, that, you know, that everything we sold was crap. But which was what it was one item. But I mean, there's no point in arguing the toss. If you call one of your products crap, people then will assume that everything you sell is crap.
And this, I think, is, well, I have a massive issue with mainstream media anyway, because like you say, they'd taken something and it was contextual, and wasn't it a H. Samuel item as well?
Yeah, it was. And in fact, I didn't like this sherry decanter thing, because when I was making a bid for H. Samuel, and it was quite an aggressive takeover, I had to throw things at them to say why they should sell to Ratner's. And I said, well, they're selling too many gifts. They should be more concentrating on jewellery. And I said that sherry decanter, I mean, what's that they're selling with, you know, it's and I actually said crap then, and everybody printed it and agreed with me. So I thought I was on safe ground. But
so you had no idea the implications of what you'd said. You referred to a sherry decanter as a crap item.
Yeah.
Which was completely taken out of context, massively over-exaggerated to then, as you say, taken to state that all jewellery was crap.
Yeah.
The reference to, so for those who don't know, the reference to the M&S prawn sandwich, tell us what the actual phrase was.
Well, I said that we sell a pair of earrings for 99p, gold earrings as well, which is the same price as a prawn sandwich from Marks and Spencer's. But I have to say that the sandwich would probably last longer than the earrings. Which
I think's really funny, personally.
And it is funny, and a lot of people laugh, and I probably would have got away with that. I don't think the Mirror would have taken me down if it was just that. But of course, added to the sherry decanter thing, made it a stronger story for them. But there was also a fact that the journalist in the Mirror had it in for me anyway, because apparently I'd fired his niece. But I employed 27,000 people and I never met his niece. But he's told his niece that he was going to get his own back on me. So, but there's no point in me sitting here being bitter about it, because everybody's a victim. I don't feel I am a victim, and so I do my speeches, and a lot of the fact is that when I go to do a speech or mentoring on a wet Tuesday night in Wigan, it's probably better that they've heard of me, even for the fact that I made those jokes, rather than they haven't heard of me.
Absolutely. But it must have taken a long time, and we're going to talk about what you did and how you overcome the challenge, because you've got a great view of it now in terms of like, well, we can't change the past, and I'm not a victim. But actually, that one speech at the Institute of Directors overnight created absolute carnage when it came to the business. As you say, you were employing 27,000 people. You had over 2,000 stores. You were worldwide. The business was doing absolutely phenomenal. And overnight, pretty much fell off a cliff.
Nobody would come in the shops.
So it just frustrates me.
There was no social media, but word got around pretty quickly, and the brand became toxic. And I remember I was almost in tears. I was visiting the shops, and in the olden days we had queues of people buying our earrings and chains. Now we had queues of people asking for their money back. Every single person that came in that shop attacked our staff and said that your chairman doesn't have a very good view of your products, and that's why we want our money back. And in fairness to them, if they had read that everything that I sell is crap, which actually in the speech I said that everything we sell is of the highest quality.
Yep.
That's the irony of it. But we do have one or two. Then I went to Sherry Kent. But in fairness to the customer, if he bought his wife an engagement ring, and the Daily Mirror said it was crap, and everyone was saying it's crap, you wouldn't want it. But I mean, if you were interviewing my wife, she would still be very bitter and say that was the day that changed our lives and changed Gerald, and he wasn't the same person after that. She feels, that she can't forget it, and she is bitter about it. And that's not in my nature. I don't want to spend my life. You only have one life. You don't want to spend every day of it cursing yourself, and you just make the most of it. And if you take into account my life compared to most people's lives, I have to say it's been pretty good. I haven't been short of, I was short of money afterwards because I lost everything.
Yeah.
The shares went to 2p and had enormous debt. But without taking those 7 years out, before and after, I've been okay. I lost the business that I want, I loved and I built, but I've had lots of other excitement and enjoyment in my life. But at that time, I didn't deal with it very well. I basically gave up, and I joke about this in the speech that I spent 7 years in bed watching Countdown, and I didn't really want to play anymore, and I believed everything that was said about me in the press. And the strange thing was, when I finally got out of bed and I started meeting people, like when I did my speeches or when I opened up my health club, everyone wasn't anything like what I expected. They were very friendly and supportive and not critical.
Yeah.
So I'd got a completely false view of how everybody felt about me.